20 Virtual Networking Tips. Tip number 1. Nurture your current connections. Don't forget the people who already work with you. Tip number 2. Use LinkedIn. Find connections through current prospects on LinkedIn. Make sure to send out a small message with the connect request so the other person can learn more about you. Tip number 3. Create a Facebook group. This is a good way to bring lots of people together in one place. Let your connections know about this group so they can join. Tip number 4. Do an online webinar. Create a webinar full of information that people want to learn about and host it. Choose the right time that works for your connection. Tip number 5. Use Google Forums. Google Forums can connect you to those who need you most. Tip number 6. Try the right virtual networking tool. Zoom and Slack are just 2 places to get started. Try using a few. Tip number 7. Offer something in return. This is a two-way relationship, so offer the other person something too. Tip number 8. Do not pitch. This is a relationship, not just a pitch meeting. Keep the conversation open and friendly. Tip number 9. Be authentic. Your connection can smell a fake from a mile away. Always be authentic and true. Tip number 10. Make sure to introduce yourself. On all calls and more, make sure to introduce yourself so the other person or group knows you. Tip number 11. Be on time. It is important to never leave anyone waiting. Be on time and be courteous of the other person. Tip number 12. Test out the sound. When having a meeting or webinar, sound is important. Test this out before anyone shows up. Tip number 13. Do not expect a reply. It would be nice to have everyone show up who you send invites to. Be excited for the ones who do. Tip number 14. Be reasonable in your expectations. Not every connection will turn out well. Take your time and be realistic. Tip number 15. Listen more than talk. The best connections happen when you listen to the other person. Active listening will be the best way to succeed. Tip number 16. Try some icebreakers. Meeting someone online can be awkward sometimes. Prepare with a few icebreakers to make things easier. Tip number 17. Pick the right social media. You need to have the right social media set up the whole time to see good results. Tip number 18. Get found on social media. Optimize the bio, engage with other accounts, and use the right hashtags to help out. Tip number 19. Be professional. These are professional contacts you are trying to make. Dress nicely, be respectful, and always act professionally. Tip number 20. Follow up. When the meeting is done, make sure to follow up with the other person to show that you care about them.